Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and I hope everybody have a good day today. So we continue our discussion about sociological research for the second topic of our subject. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and I hope everybody have a good day today. So we continue our discussion about sociological research for the second topic of our subject. So what is our objective for this topic? So we have three different objectives. First is what is the scientific method. So you will know about the scientific method as a whole, and then the major research design and also ethic for doing research. In the sociology, it's really important you to know about the scientific method because in the definition of sociology also mention about how we learn sociology, how we know about the society based on the scientific method. So we're moving on to the definition of scientific method. So scientific method is a systematic organized series of steps that ensure maximum objectivity and consistency in researching a problem. So we have a circle, okay, a different step to make sure our research is consistent, our research have this reliability and also validity. So this is the step if you or the sociologists want to make or do their research. Okay, so first thing first, you need to define the problem. How you define the problem is you can also use your common sense. All right, if you have a problem with relationship, or you have a problem with your family, if you have a problem with the society, for example, why people really like to revel, for example, why this small group, okay, WeChat group have their own culture. So this is part of the questioning or the problem that we can do a research about it. So next we move on to review the literature. So how we review the literature, we will look back all the previous research, right, and then we will read all the articles, and then we also refer back all the theory and concept that another researcher used to explain about the problem that we need to discover. So next, moving on to a testable hypothesis. So before after we know about the problem, so you need to form your hypothesis. Okay, so let's say we take mud rempit as example. All right, so mud rempit, why people or why teenagers, okay, are influenced with mud rempit. Okay, so you say that teenagers influenced by the culture of mud rempit because of their peer groups. Okay, this is one of your hypotheses. So you need to test your hypothesis by use a different research design, and also you need to analyze the data. So we have several steps, it's not several steps, several research design. All right, so for example, we have a survey, we have observation, we have experiment, and also existing sources. So if you use a survey, you ask question with the survey form. So nowadays we also have the online survey form, for example, Google form. All right, monkey survey. All right, so next we move on to observation. Observation, when we use our eyes, okay, to observe people. All right, and also we must take note everything what happened during that time. Okay, for example, if you want to take mud rempit as an issue, so why mud rempit wear a different attire? Why mud rempit always come out late night? Why mud rempit have their partner, it's like their girlfriend, to take along during the competition of Madram Pit. So this is part of observation. So if you want to do the experiment, so you need to know the variable, the dependent variable or independent variable. So we will discuss about that later. And existing resources means that you use data from newspaper, from internet, from the article. All right, so after that, after you have your own research design, and then you do you use a research design to take a data. So after that, you analyze all the data, and then you develop a conclusion with the data. And also you need to put your idea for further research. Okay, so why we need you need to put idea for further research? This is because so another researcher can replicate back your research, okay, or actually they can see the loop, okay, the loop that happened in your research. Okay, so in the scientific method first step, okay, remember about defining the problem. So you need to state as clearly as possible what you hope to investigate. So under defining the problem, you need to emphasize, or you need to have this operational definition. What is operational definition? Is you need to explain of abstract concept that is specific enough to allow a researcher to assess the concept. All right, for example, if you said about Madram Pit, so you need to have this operational definition. What is Madram Pit? You can define them as an individual, okay, who have a motorcycle, and then who don't have a job, right, and then also come late night. So this is a criteria that you need to have to discuss what is the definition of Madram Pit. Okay, so moving on to the review the literature. So why we need the literature review? Because it will give you more information about the issue or the problem that you want to do. So next, moving on to formulating the hypothesis. So we have two different hypotheses or the variables. So first is independent variable, second dependent variable. So independent variable is the variable hypothesized to cause or influence another, but dependent variable action that depend on the influence on the independent variable to affect in action. So if you make an experiment, so you need to know what is the factor that you want to give impact or effect. Okay, so you need to clearly know what is independent and dependent variable. Okay, so next moving on to the more explanation about the hypothesis. So you can formulate the hypothesis by the two different ways. First is causal logic, second is correlation. So causal logic involves a relationship between a condition or variable and particular consequence, with one event leading to the another. Okay, for example, if you say that you will get A grade, A plus grade for the sociology when you spend more time to study. So this is a causal logic, because this is logic. When you spend time more, you will get more grade. Okay, right. So this is the relationship between the condition and consequence. So next, moving on to correlation. Correlation is as is when a change in one variable coincides with a change in another. So when you give more effort, so you will get more, means that you get good grade. But it's actually don't necessarily mention about the cause and effect. So you can see here in the slide. So independent variable is level of education, and dependent variable is level of income. But yeah, if you have high level of education, you will get a high level of income, but it's not necessarily happen in our society nowadays. Okay, we can see a lot of our degree holder can't get a job. Okay, and also we can see the second reason, degree of lack of integration into society, is likelihood of suicide. Okay, this is the causal logic happen between independent and dependent variable, but it's not necessary happen. We have a lot of a different factor that actually affect someone, the condition with the consequence. Okay, moving on to the how you collect and analysis data. So first thing first, you need to know your sample. Okay, sample is the selection from a larger population that is statistically typical of that population. Alright, so for example, as a for instance, okay, so in Malaysia, you cannot do a research with the Malaysia population. It's so difficult for you. Yeah, so we need to choose a sample which is a small population. Okay, select our sample that related with our problem. So if you said about mat rempit, so you need to choose a group of mat rempit where, for example, at Kuala Lumpur, because we have a lot of mat rempit in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, for example, so you also can have this random sample when every member of an entire population have the same chance of being selected. So if you want to do a research about education, about results, okay, so you can change, you can see a different variable or different sample, okay, in intact education college. Okay, for instance, you can use batch ACT 14 for your sample, and in the ACT 14 you can randomly pick which one you want to use as a sample or your respondent. Alright, so this is what is random sample. So after you have your problem, and then you already did literature review, and then you have your own sample, so how you collect your data? Okay, so you need to make sure you use a correct research design. This is to make sure your result is valid. You have this validity and reliability. What is validity? Validity is degree to which a measure truly reflects the phenomenon being studied, and reliability is extent to which a measure provides consistent result. Okay, so validity means that if you do a research, and then in Kuala Lumpur, for example, and then you test the result the same place again, but after 5 years. Okay, so this is your, if the result give the same result, okay, the consistent result, so it means it's reliable, have this reliability. But invalidity means that if another researcher want to use the same research method and also do a same step, same issues, all right, so they will get result, the same result with yours. So this is a validity. So for the next video, we will discuss about the major research design, about the survey, about experiment, about the interview, and also about the collecting the secondary data analysis. So hopefully you can understand about the sociological research. So thank you for watching.